Let's dad up. All right. Well, good morning. Happy Wednesday. It is our fourth DadUP Radio Show since we started. In the studio with me, I have Charles Jones and I have Mike Stringham. And it is so nice to have you guys as co-hosts this morning. We missed you, man. We started with you, Mike, but ever since it's just...
I mean, it's good to be missed.
All
but,
right, okay.
It's a little early for me.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for joining us. Today, we will be looking at the I in S.P.I.E.S. The fatherhood program, this one, the DadUP program, seeks to uplift dads, to inspire them, to help them live a balanced life. And what we have been doing since we started this week is to look at the acronym S.P.I.E.S, each one standing for pillar, attire, and for the S, we looked at yesterday the spiritual post upon which all dads should be building themselves and their lives for the benefit of their families. Yesterday...
2 days ago.
Was it 2 days ago we looked at the spiritual? Okay. Your memory is much better
Time's
than mine.
flying. We're having fun.
And yesterday we looked at the physical, the importance of being not just physically fit, but being healthy.
Right.
And how by being so, we are not only helping ourselves, but we're helping our children because we are living longer, hopefully, and having good health.
And setting an example.
Most definitely. Mm-hmm. Today we want to look at the I, the intellectual. What that has to do is with our minds. And before we dive a little bit more into that, let's review. The first time we met, August 1st, we did a scoring for ourselves. Mm-hmm. So for those who might be listening for the very first time, what we're encouraging our fathers and father figures to be is that they need to be better S.P.I.E.S. S for spiritual, P for physical, I for intellectual, E for emotional, and S for social. And it just so happens we have 5 days in the week. So on Mondays, we are going to be looking at the spiritual aspect of fatherhood. And Tuesdays, we are going to be looking at the physical growth and development of dads. Mm-hmm. Today, it will be the intellectual/mental. Thursdays, the emotional, and Fridays, the social. So, based on the scores we gave ourselves a few days ago, where are we? From 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Mike?
I think I was at a 7. Well, if I can't remember on the I, then I am a 7, because if I was at 8 and I forgot already,
then you're going down.
Yeah,
okay.
Downhill.
I think I remember saying I was a 9 because I love to gather input. I like to gather information, so I'll stay at 9.
Well, I'll say I'm 8.5 today. I'm 8.5 today. We have some jokes for you. We'll leave that until later. So each day we have what we call DGJ, Dad's Got Jokes. And for the past few days, based on the feedback, I think I'm leading, but we will...
That's debatable. But
all right, then, okay. We're going to ask you, listening audience, to call in and let us know which of the jokes are better that you hear. But here's a question for you. If you had a heart problem, whom would you go to?
Cardiologist.
All right. If you had a foot problem, you would go to...
Podiatrist.
Okay. And nobody looks down on you for doing that. In fact, they would think you are silly if you didn't.
All right.
And yet if we have a mental health problem as men, as dads, we are either looked down upon or we look down upon ourselves thinking we're weak. Something is wrong with us if we seek out mental health. Why is that?
I can think for my generation, I'm a little older than Mike, we were always taught that.
And me.
Well, yeah, I'm not as much older than you.
All right.
But we were always taught that we had to be strong. We had to be a tower of strength. We could push through everything. And that stays in your mind no matter what. So that's the mindset I believe a lot of men have. You know, if you're playing sports or if you're playing outside and you fall down and hurt yourself, you know, you grab some dirt and rub it on there and keep going. So we have that mentality.
Mike, even with your younger generation, I mean, mental health. You see somebody or you're talking to your friends and they say, I'm going to see my therapist or my mental health worker. Do you look twice on them or do you give them a thumbs up?
I mean, I congratulate them, honestly, because, I mean, it's important. It's more important than, I would say not more important, but it's just as important as physical. Like, you can be physically strong, but be a shell of yourself. And if you're not having the inner strength to say, you know what, I do need a little bit of help to free up some of the cobwebs and the cloudiness and all that's going on in my mind, to stop the voices a little bit and just have a clear voice and direct me a little bit. There's nothing weak about that at all. And I think that's the misconception of that. It is weakness.
I am so glad for this conversation that we're having, and I hope our listening audience, especially our dads and our men, they know it is okay to ask for help. And quite honestly, in this day and age, it is hard to be a dad sometimes. You said something recently, brother, that Mike, that it's challenging. It was one. Tell me, fatherhood is both challenging, but.
Oh, I said it was beautiful and brutal.
Yeah.
Because as amazing of a gift as it is, it beats you down, and you have to find a way to get out of that and to get back up. And you always can't do that by yourself.
Yeah. I know dads right now, this very day, who are struggling to find a place to house themselves and their families. I know dads who are having some challenges, but they can't or won't go home and say it because they have to be strong. And they can't talk to their homeboys or dogs, whatever they call their circle of friends, because it is not okay for men to say, I'm having one of those meltdown days.
And at the same time, they're going through the same thing.
Yes.
But they won't tell each other.
True. That's true.
So there are two aspects here when it comes onto the I, the intellectual, mental health. I want to start from the one that is not often acknowledged. We should never stop learning. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, it is said. And so when I challenge dads to develop themselves intellectually, I'm not saying you should all be doctors and lawyers and whatever. I'm not saying you should go push yourself and get a doctorate. I'm saying to every dad, whatever field you're in, be the best in that field. Not best in terms of better than other people, but be the best landscaper you can be. Be the best barber. Be the best whatever it is. So you're always learning. I say to a guy who is starting a new business or has a landscaping business, when last have you studied to certify yourself so that you can now advertise yourself as licensed, bonded, and whatever else? If you're a barber, whatever it is. So the intellectual development of dads is not just about mental health, which we'll go back into, but sharpening your tools and upping your game so that you are top of your game as you provide services to people.
Right. And in that aspect, even outside of your career, your family is going to come to you for answers. So it would behoove you to have as much information as possible, because I would never want to say to my daughter, if she asks me something I don't know, how is she going to look at me? As she looked at me for everything, and I tell her I don't know.
All right. Let me challenge you on that. you might not know,
True.
but be willing to learn.
Yes.
So that you do know.
In that aspect, I would say, I don't know, but give me a day or give me a couple days and I'll get that answer for you.
Or let's go find out together.
Oh, yes, that's even better.
Yes. And in fact, that's one of the things I love about Operation Daducation, dads reading to and with their kids, because I have some dads who are Spanish-speaking dads, but their children in school are learning English. What a wonderful thing to be able to interact and exchange. Dad, you speak Spanish, daughter speaks English, and you teach, because I do believe they need to learn the language of their fathers and parents, but learn from each other.
Yeah. And I believe this is my opinion, there's no excuse for not being able to learn. You have everything at your fingertips now. It's not like it was decades ago where you had to get in your car, go to the library, go to the card catalog, find the number, go into the book sections, down the aisles, and find the book. Then go back, open it up, and flip through the pages. Now, with a few keystrokes or a few taps, you can find whatever information you want.
Yeah. I'm so proud of some of the dads that I know who are going for their GED.
Yes.
Now, this is what it is about, improving your intellect, Dad, using the brain cells that God has given to us. It's not about comparing ourselves with anybody else. It's about how can we maximize what God has given to us, so that, one, if you get your GED and you get a better job, a better paying job, now you are in a better position to help yourself and your parents and your children. If you have your GED and then you want to go for a bachelor's or an associate degree, and then you get a better job, and so you see how it has a knock-on effect. It is always a good thing to learn.
It's like a business, right? Like you want your business to succeed, right? So you have your business and you have shareholders, right? If you're trying to better your business, you want to train, you want to cross train, you want to find ways to make yourself more valuable than you're valuable to others. Then the equity goes up, so then everybody benefits. So it's the same thing. Like when you're a dad, you want to better yourself, you want to train yourself, you want to do things better than you did before, so the people around you, your kids, your spouse, your friends, your job, are better for you putting in that work. And then you become, instead of a jack of all trades, you become a jack of all trades. You're well-rounded, and then you really hone in on what you're really good at, and then you hone in on what you're not good at, and then you find yourself in a better place overall, and the people around you will be too.
I was talking to someone recently. I think it was Bob or John or Mickey, one of those guys out there, and then I was telling them how we will be going live on social media very soon. All of this week we're gathering material. So social media, I have dads who have not finished high school, but they're making thousands a week on TikTok and what have you, and it's legal.
Yeah.
But they haven't stretched themselves. It's as though, if I can make the money now, why bother with school? Why bother with college? Why bother to go learn a trade? I know there's something about working smarter and not harder, but do you see any pitfalls in that? Not sort of stretching yourself and learning more? And what are your thoughts? I know you're the tech man here, mate.
Even though you're looking through a screen, you don't want to put yourself in a box. Right? You don't want to put all yourself in one basket, all your eggs, because eventually you're going to need to fall back on something else. What if they ban TikTok like they're supposed to? Okay, then where's your source of income? You have no way to generate income. You need to figure out another solution, and instead of waiting until that time comes, you need to figure out what it is now, so you have something to fall back on. Or like they always say, you always need a side hustle. So the sooner you figure that out, the better off you'll be.
Right. And I remember talking with my brother-in-law. He's a minister in Chicago, and he said that you don't necessarily have to have a degree to be a minister, but sometimes those extra letters behind your name can open doors. Because people look at things like that. They may not necessarily do it consciously, but subconsciously, if someone is a high school graduate and then someone is a college graduate, subconsciously they're going to gravitate towards the college graduate. So those extra letters behind your name may open doors.
The mind, it's a gift from God. It's a gift from God. And actually, almost everything that we are and almost everything that we do starts with the mind. As a man thinketh, so is he. And there's a saying, let me see how good my mind is to remember it now. Mind your thoughts, because your thoughts give birth to your words. Mind your words, because your words give birth to your actions. Mind your actions, because your actions give birth to your habits. Mind your habits, because your habits give birth to your lifestyle. Mind your lifestyle, because your lifestyle gives birth to your character. Mind your character, because your character gives birth to your destiny. But it all goes back to the mind. And so we want to encourage our dads, use your mind in a great, wonderful way. And God has given there's a verse in the Bible that I think we all know. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. When you become a believer, you don't throw your brain out. You use it. In fact, you should even become a greater thinker. So going back, well, all right, before we dive into that, let's get some jokes, man. Let's get to some jokes. I want to let you know, listening audience, you can become part of this movement here. Today's show is being sponsored by Nuzzle Nolan Pest Control and Lawn Care Company. They can be reached at 561-823-2173. I repeat, 561-823-2173. If you wish to sponsor this program on behalf of your family, on behalf of your son, on behalf of your husband, your church, your business, please call 561-229-2379. That's 561-229-2379, or email us at dadup@thefatherchildconnection.org. We are inviting you to be part of this movement. In fact, you have heard us talk about DadUp 1000. By the end of this month, we are hoping to have 1,000 fathers or father figures or moms who will sponsor their son to be part of DadUp 1000. Giving your prayers, which we desperately need, giving your hours, at least 1 hour per week, and giving your dollars, at least $100 a year, tax deductible, which will change the trajectory of a father, a son, and a family.
Absolutely.
Let's do some jokes. Let's laugh, because we're coming back in a few months as to mental health and how we as dads and father figures and as men need to invest more time in that part of our lives. You haven't been here for 2 or 3 days, man. In fact, he even voted for one of your jokes.
That's right.
Charles. So let's hear it.
Is he being punished for that?
Well, let's hear what he has to say. It might be a punishment listening to his jokes, but let him go.
All right, guys. Why are seagulls only at the sea?
Repeat. Why are
seagulls only at the sea?
That's all they can see?
Because if they were at the bay, they'd be bagels.
Oh, wow.
Okay. All right.
That's good.
Come on.
That's good.
All right.
That's good. Okay.
That's because he voted for you. All right. Then the bagels. Okay.
Okay. What do you call a belt made of watches?
What do you call a belt made of watches? A watch belt?
A waste of time.
He's not laughing.
It's all right. It's cool.
That might not have been a good one.
might have been a good one.
They can't be all gems.
No.
All right,
you can't hit a home run every time,
Okay, so listen to a real joke now, man. What kind of shoes do frogs wear?
Closed-toed shoes.
Open-toed shoes. Open-toed.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah. Laugh some more, man.
No.
You need one of those laugh tracks for that one.
We need sound effects here.
Or a gong.
All right, listen. Laughter is a medicine, and it's good when we can laugh at ourselves and laugh with each other. I want to think of a time in the Gospels when I imagine Jesus laughed with his disciples. We know he cried. Jesus wept. But I have a few times when I really do believe he laughed.
I'm sure.
So think about that. We'll come to that in a moment. But listening audience, thank you so much for joining us. We are on the third letter in S.P.I.E.S. Each day of the week, we encourage our fathers and father figures to improve themselves, take care of themselves spiritually, physically, intellectually, emotionally, socially. And one of the under-cared for aspect of ourselves is our mental health. How do you, when we talked about the physical part, you work out, you eat right, you sleep right. That's for your physical. For your spiritual, you pray, you fast, you read God's word, you fellowship with God's people. Your mental health, how do you personally pay attention to that and regroup and strengthen yourselves mentally? How do you guys do it?
I'm a reader. I love to read. And it really doesn't matter. Of course, I have favorite genres, but anything that can give me knowledge or give me information, I'll sit down and I'll zone out. Sometimes my wife is calling me as I'm reading, and I don't realize she's calling me. So I don't sit and just veg out in front of the TV. Even if I'm watching TV, it's usually a program that I can learn something from. That's, for me, that's stimulating, and that's also relaxing for me.
Reading.
Yes.
Yeah. That's almost a lost art with the screen that's taking over our lives now. I remember we talked about a show yesterday that you used to listen to as you were driving.
Yes.
Unshackled.
Unshackled on Moody Radio.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the books that we used to read when we were growing up, we didn't have access to television, or at least not 24-hour. And so you had to use your mind to imagine things, and you would go far away land. Reading is
yes, and I've been privileged to visit some sites in this country that I've read about, and it was even more exciting when I saw them, because the imagination when reading doesn't compare to when you actually see it.
Yeah, the real thing. All right, so for you, it's reading.
Yes.
All right, Mike.
I think a lot of it has to do with, I guess I got to gauge my audience, right? So if I'm at home, I got my wife and my 2 kids and my dog and my dogs. Can't forget Max. But I have to figure out exactly what's going on with them. I got to read the room and really see if what I'm doing is actually okay, like if it's right for that moment. Because you get caught up in what you do on the daily, like the podcast with work. You got social media that you got to have time to decompress as well. So there's all these things that you're juggling, and you got to really understand, like, how does it affect everybody else? And you got to gel with everybody else, and you got to make everybody else laugh, tell jokes that are. I mean, if they're never mind.
That's funny.
But you have to make the best of those moments, right? So if you're doing that, like even if it's just going out for ice cream, it's understanding and being cognitively aware of what is going on around you, and is it healthy for everybody? And if it's not, then let's course correct. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. Because we can read Just like reading the Bible, you could read it by yourself, but when you read with two or three or more, when they're gathered, then you can get a deeper understanding of what's really going on.
Yeah, and so, I love the dynamics here because you and I, Pastor Shamus, our children are grown. He has school-age children, so we can still hear different perspectives and give the fathers different perspectives.
That's right, and for each dad, they have to find their own sort of comfort zone. Mine is gardening. I love gardening. I think if I ever give up my day job, I'm going to become a landscaper, man. And that's not a joke either.
It's too hot outside.
No.
But gardening is so comforting. But we're almost out of time. But let me encourage you. And here's the cool thing. This whole week is an introduction to S.P.I.E.S. As the weeks go on, we'll be having subject matter experts, mental health experts, attorneys, doctors, and social workers, and ministers of the gospel to come in and speak to each of these areas. This week, we're just doing a broad brushstroke of where we are and what we hope to do. But may I invite you, please, to join us on a daily basis. The program is repeated in the afternoon, so 8:30 in the morning, and it's repeated 8:30 p.m. But more importantly, we're inviting you to be part of this movement. It's a DadUP movement, and we want to have 1,000 dads or father figures signed up before the end of August. If you are a single dad, we want to hear from you. We have a feature coming up that will be looking at single dads. I know they don't often get the recognition that they deserve. Of course, we know there are far more single moms out there, but we want to focus on our single dads. If there's any stay-at-home dad, we want to talk to you because you have a role to play, and you are playing that role. I also want to consider, gentlemen, having a few moms join us one morning, because we believe that as good as our right hands might be, we need our left hands. Yes. And this is not a program that is simply saying it's one or the other. Right. Actually, the reason we are doing this is because we do believe that as men, we need to dad up. And that's the clarion call. We are challenging, encouraging our dads, because there are dads out there who are doing great jobs, and they don't often get highlighted. So we'll be telling their stories, and obviously we will be telling your stories. We haven't heard all there. This forum will be an encouragement to many of the dads out there. So, closing remark as we talk about our intellectual/mental health development. For you, Mike, what would you say? Closing remark.
I just think the more that we are in tune on what we need to fix and what we're good at, and kind of find that balance of replenishing and repairing, then we can really understand the intellectual side of what we're doing. And just kind of be aware of ourselves. I mean, we have to know what we're doing, because we are walking billboards, right? Everybody's watching us. We're on stage at all moments, whether we like it or not. And I think we got to be aware.
Okay. And I believe that if you ever think you get to the point where you know it all, then you actually start to regress. Because then you think you think to yourself, I don't need to learn anything else.
All right. Well, we hope that you will take your mental health seriously, because mental health matters. Have a great day today. Join us again tomorrow. We'll be looking at the emotional development of our fatherhood. Thank you. Thanks for joining us today on the DadUP Radio Show. We would like to hear your feedback, comments, or suggestions. Also, if you would like to support us with your prayers, hours, and dollars, you can reach us at 561-229-2379. You can call or text us at 561-229-2379 or email us at dadup@thefatherchildconnection.org. That's dadup@thefatherchildconnection.org.